happy Easter. Hope you are celebrating the risen Christ. Good morning. I hope you are doing well. My name is Grace Haron. Welcome to Family Thursday. Thank you so much for always being part of our conversations here at Family Thursday, the space where we dive deep into conversations that help build strong and healthy relationships in our families, because when our families are well, all other aspects of our lives are definitely going to be well. Let us know where you are watching us from. Let us know also where you are celebrating your Easter from. You can reach us on our WhatsApp number, that is 0799200100, or also follow all our social media platforms, that is at Mizpah Tv Kenya. Today I'm so excited and honored because we are having an incredible topic here on Family Thursday that will help all of us, because it is affecting our families today and it has gotten to also our Christian homes. We're talking about divorce, how divorce reshapes the families. But we're not here to advocate for divorce, but we as the Christian television, we are here to help you understand when divorce happens, how does it reshape the whole family unit, not only affecting the children emotionally, psychologically, but also affecting the couples as well. So don't go away, just stick with us till the end, because we are also going to help us understand how we can also prevent it. What can we do to avoid this? And also, as you're celebrating the Easter, make sure to also tag a friend and your families and tell them that here at Family Thursday, we always have incredible topics. So today, I'm so honored to have an incredible guest who is always having a lot of knowledge and wisdom. Her expertise makes her fit for this discussion. Her name is Mrs Mary Mbugua. She is a psychological counselor. And so without further ado, help me welcome Mrs Mary Mbugua.
Thank you, Grace.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling fulfilled, knowing that the death and rising of Christ gave me the hope to live.
Wow.
So I'm feeling I'm there, and it is good for me.
Yes.
Yeah, it is well with my heart.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say hello to our viewers.
Hi viewers, happy Easter. Yeah, I celebrate you all as we continue to enjoy this time of the Easter holiday. We are here in Mizpah to be with you, to look at life. We've been looking at other areas where we can be able to be and to belong, and also to be happy.
Yes.
Yeah, life from our God, life was meant to be happy.
Yeah, life was, I love that, that statement.
It was meant to be happy.
Yes.
And though it is not the way it was meant, but having the information, we can decide to be happy.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, otherwise, karibuni sana. And as Grace has just said, I'm Mary Mbugua. I'm a friend to Mizpah. Yeah, I've been visiting here. I think we have met severally. And I'm a psychological counselor. And on that note, licensed. Licensed. I operate in other areas like in addiction counseling. I also train. Right now I'm also having a program in a primary school where people come to learn about basic counseling skills, so that they can be able to work on themselves and even to work for their families. So karibu sana. I do therapy work. Yeah, my organization is called Miale ya Tumaini. So karibu sana, and by the end of the program, you can get my contact. Just let us work together.
Wow, that's incredible. You wear a lot of hats, and we thank God for that. Yeah, before we dive into our conversation, I want to welcome our viewers for the Easter festival here at Mizpah House of Prayer. We are going to have a 24/7 non-stop worship, prayer, intercession, and the Word of God as we celebrate the risen Christ. That is the theme, celebrating the risen Christ. It is starting today at 7 p.m. till Sunday. Can you imagine? So you can book your accommodation accommodation here at Mizpah House of Prayer, just contact 0727 766 553. If you're not going to have maybe some other engagements, just come here, let us celebrate. And also you can follow us on our social media platforms. If utamek kukuja, that is on all our social media platforms, that is at Mizpah TV Kenya. We'll be very glad to have you here with us as we celebrate the risen Christ. So let us dive deep into our conversation. We are talking about divorce. And this is a question I'm going to ask you, our dear viewers. What do you think? Is divorce the only option when things get tough in the family? Or couples can do something about it when they feel that hapa sasa mambo yamefika mwisho? What do you think? You can reach us on our WhatsApp number, on the number on your screen, or also on our social media platforms. So Mrs Mary Mbugua,
Hi.
we are now into our conversation today. Why do you think this conversation is important in today's society?
Thank you, Grace. This topic is very, very important. Bearing in mind that divorce have become a rampant issue in our society.
Yes.
In the past, divorce was not as it is today. Yeah, I think in the past people were so much interrelated and even connected with the family, especially the family setup, whereby people used to have dialogue and communication. They would sort their problems.
Yes.
But today we are looking at a society where the interaction of the family setup is no longer existing. The fabric is not so much attached, and therefore it's more of nuclear family. And then because of the lifestyle, the aspect of technology, social media, people have opted maybe to look at divorce like the only solution. It is not the only solution, but inabidi wakati mwingine. Inabidi. Because we don't encourage people, especially nowadays when we have these toxic marriages where lives are threatened. Personally, as a counselor, we always alert people that when the aspect of life threatening occurs, it is good to take safety. It is good to take
That's
safety.
when we say enough is enough, we can just go
but
away.
Definitely it has to be a process. Yeah, you don't just rise up and na unasema unaenda. It should be a process.
Also, is there a difference between divorce and separation?
Yes. You know, the separation comes first. In the legality of the matter, before you divorce, people are advised to separate. Why separation? Because at times we take irrational decisions. And maybe if given time, you can recall and call yourself to nasema ujitaka mkutano, then you can try to reflect back because it takes two to entangle. Because marriage is for two. And maybe you have also to have time and look into yourself. The other person tries to look into himself. And maybe you can realize that there are things that you can come together and amend. That's why we need separation before.
Fast.
That's why divorce is a process. Divorce is a process. Separation comes first. I think that is the legality of the matter. Sometimes even if we don't follow the legal way, sometimes we do it. Unaambia mtu anaambiwa enda ukae peke yako kidogo na huyu akae peke yake kidogo. Just get back into yourself so that you can work on yourself, because the purpose of the same is for people to live together.
Wow, thank you so much for helping us understand that. Now from your years of experience, what are the most common causes of divorce in the families?
Wow, there are many causes, because families and marriages are dynamic, by the way. You cannot just say that, like, I want my marriage to be like Mrs Mbugua's, because the individuals are different. We have different personalities, we have different backgrounds. You know, even the way we are taught to handle issues right from our childhood experiences. marriages are dynamic, and therefore there are various reasons. But even from the biblical aspect, when you go to the Bible, Jesus was asked the same, should people divorce? He said during the Moses time, people were allowed to divorce, but because of the hardness of their hearts, so they were given that freedom. But from the biblical aspect, the only aspect that allows people to divorce is adultery or infidelity. When one gets out of marriage, in terms of adultery, involving yourself with another person, whether a man or a woman, then that is a clear thing that you can now say an evidence. This is an evidence that can allow you to start the process of divorce. But at times there are people who opt to forgive, and they move on. They move on. That's why I'm saying it's dynamic. But with the modern society, there are many things. People are just, because of the expectations. When I was looking at it, I've been thinking about it. It's about the expectation. And I always ask couples, what was your expectation in this marriage? Because when these expectations are not met, then you feel like you are not in the right place. And issues can emanate from any corner. Just because an expectation was not met. Mostly we talk of infidelity. We talk about lack of commitment. As I was going through this material about divorce, I also realized that desertion, where people decide maybe umekaa 2-3 years, 2-3 years, kama ni bibi, and I was wondering about these people who are going to work outside the country. Nasikia mwanaume amekaa 15 years, and then the question is, are you still married? You know, if the spouse feels like one is not satisfied, this is a ground for divorce. Desertion. Now, by the way, in the legal way, it should be between 2 and 3 years. The other person can file a divorce. Your desertion. So I think it is an area that people have to think of. Though our modern society, we are really after money, after material things, and we forget that marriage is not just about money. Money is just a tool something to help us to move on and to meet our needs. They are more than that. So there is lack of commitment. There is also the violence. The abuse.
That's when we say, now let us do this.
These are some of the causes. Actually, these days it is hurting. It is also it is disheartening to realize that people are even killing each other. And the data is high. The data is high, where men and women are killing each other just because they are not compatible anymore. You know, marriage is about compatibility. It's about completing each other. And when this happens, you realize that there is threatening. Children are abused. It can be from the lady or from the man. You know, there are times we are biased. Tunadhania ni wanaume tu. Even ladies. So these days we are talking more about toxic marriage, toxic families. So when you get to that point and you feel like life is threatened, then it is a ground for divorce. There are many other things. I'm saying it is about you. It is about the person. What is this that you feel like you are not ready to continue in this marriage?
Thank you so much for that. I know there are many, and thank you for shedding light on some. And now let's get into our conversation, how it reshapes the family. Because as I was doing my research, church, I realized we only talk about the children.
Yes.
But we forget the whole family structure. Maybe before you get to the children, how does it affect now the family? Maybe is it the couples or the family structure and all that, the dynamics? Yeah.
You know, the purpose of marriage is people coming together. It is designed in heaven.
Yes.
I have always said marriage is godly. This was the intention of God.
Yeah.
Maybe to fulfill some of the things that God would wish and He wanted us to. Like the issue of reproduction.
Yes.
Without marriage,
Yeah.
you see, there is no reproduction. Hata kama watu wanapata tu watoto nje ya ndoa.
Yeah.
These are some of the areas that maybe tunajipata, not the real intention.
Yeah.
So the purpose of marriage was people to live together,
Yes.
be happy, bring up families that
Yeah.
are happy. And it is in this family that
Yeah.
we find the children
Yeah.
are brought to understand the social aspect of interacting with the people, learning the basics of life.
Yes.
So you can imagine one day that this family breaks.
Yeah.
There is divorce. The man gets out of the marriage.
Yes.
He no longer remains the same man we know.
Yeah.
Because one, there is that aspect of stigma. Somebody who will feel lonely.
Yeah.
Somebody who will feel depressed.
Yes.
Na unajua watu wanafikiria like nikiachana tu maisha itakuwa
itaendelea.
poa. But at a later stage,
Yeah.
I want to shed light that when we divorce, we enter to these stages of loss. Yeah, it is loss by itself.
Yeah.
And therefore, you are open now to go through the stages of grief. Just like one who has lost. Yeah. So the man no longer, one, there's the aspect of loneliness.
Yes.
There is also the interdependence within the couple.
Yes.
So you realize that huyu ni mwanaume alikuwa anapikiwa anafanyiwa kila kitu, nao uko hapa. You cannot just wake up in the morning wende ukatafute mtu wa kuleta. Hata huyo umekuwa na yeye kando. Kwanza hata kubali. So you realize that kama ni mtu anaenda kazi, at times you realize that you are not even performing in the place of work.
Yeah.
Remember also the lady falls the same.
Yeah.
There is the aspect of loneliness. There is the aspect of not being able to meet some needs.
Yeah, financial.
In our culture, remember that mostly our women are a bit dependent on men.
On the men.
Yeah, and this is our expectation.
Yeah.
So you realize one morning this person is not there. So there is a drawback.
Yes.
This family no longer becomes a family, and in the family, remember, you are not only married to this man. Yeah, there's the family structure.
Yes.
There are in-laws. There are whoever is involved. So every other person will go through shame and guilt.
Everyone around
in that,
you. Yeah,
hata wazazi wako wataanza kusema msichana wetu alitarakiwa, aliachwa, waliachana. So you cannot go shoulder high. You always go, looking down because you feel like you are not accepted in the society. So it is not only the children, but even the couple. Remember, we have the financial, the emotional, the psychological.
Especially, I was listening to some lawyer and she was saying that inafikanga place now mnaanza kuangalia mambo ya mali, itaenda wapi, mtoto ataenda sijui kwa nani. Like all that, it is really affecting them emotionally. And that's why we tell people, remember, it's a process. It's not a one-day event. Because when you get into it, remember, maybe you have you had whatever things that you had gotten together, in terms of resources. You had a house, you had a shamba, you had whatever you had. Now it's again a process. Kuuliza itaenda wapi? So it drains one. It drains one. And that's why in my field of counseling, I always give my client
time to go and weigh what are the advantages and the disadvantages.
Wow, so people come to you when they want to get divorced.
Yes, they come. We have been dealing with several. Yeah, and we even get to a point where people feel like, yes, Madam Counselor, we have gotten this far, I have realized this, but I have no option. Then for me, or counselors, we always tell people, take responsibility, choose what you want to do. So, but before that, we have to go through processes, looking at the pros and cons. So
well,
that
before that, thank you so much. We need to go for a short break. Thank you for what you're saying. Thank you for shedding light. And we really need to help our viewers. Our viewers, I hope you're finding this conversation helpful, because we've said we're not here to advocate for divorce, but we're here to help us understand what can be done and the effects of divorce in the family. Don't go away, because we are going for a short break, but we will be right back. See you shortly.
Mizpah TV, keeping the fire of the altar burning.
Pray without ceasing. Meditate in tranquility. Rest in a presence-filled prayer mountain. At Mizpah House of Prayer, we provide accommodation facilities which include dormitories, modern cottages, executive chambers, all at affordable fees. For bookings and prior arrangements, call us on 0727 766 553. Mizpah House of Prayer, keeping the fire of the altar burning.
We invite you to join our online family on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, and on TikTok at Mizpah TV Kenya and Mizpah House of Prayer. And now we have great news. You can watch Mizpah TV anywhere on Twitch app, which is available on Google Play Store and Apple Store. For great inspiration in worship, word and prayer, and other entertaining and encouraging programs tailored for you. Welcome to our online family.
At Mizpah House of Prayer, we value collaboration. We've worked with many of you to make a positive impact. Why partner with us? When you stretch your hand towards a divine commission, you partake in the blessing of God towards you. When you team up with God, you become Team God. Join Team God today by calling us at 0727 766 553 to learn more. Together, we can keep the fire of the altar burning.
Mizpah TV, keeping the fire of the altar burning.
And welcome back to Family Thursday. Thank you so much for keeping it locked here at Mizpah TV. Don't forget that we are still inviting you for the Easter Festival here at Mizpah House of Prayer. The Easter Festival celebration is starting today from 7 p.m. and ending on Sunday. It will be a 24/7 worship, prayer, intercession, and the Word of God. Come, let us celebrate the risen Christ. I don't know where you're celebrating from. You can also let us know in the comments. That is on our WhatsApp number 0799 200 100, or follow all our social media platforms. Tuambie hapo kwa YouTube, hapo kwa Facebook, that is at Mizpah TV Kenya. If you want to also book accommodation here at Mizpah House of Prayer, you can just contact 0727 766 553, and we'll be glad to have you here as we celebrate the risen Christ. We've been discussing about divorce, how divorce reshapes the family, with Mrs Mary Mbugua. Welcome back.
Thank you, Grace.
Yeah, you told me what before we get into the conversation, Easter. What does Easter mean to you?
Easter means that I was lost and I'm found. Yeah, through Christ,
yes,
I'm back to my God.
Yes.
I've been connected, and this is what gives me the joy, knowing that somebody died for me. Yeah, and actually I have always said Easter is the source of my joy.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, just Christ giving himself for me.
Yeah,
I feel like there's nothing that I can give in return.
yes, nothing.
Yeah, nothing but just to thank him. So this is my joy.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's incredible. Thank you so much for that. Everyone should celebrate
Yeah.
Christ for what he did for us
Yes.
on the cross, because no one would have done that. We cannot buy that. Actually, hakuna pesa inaweza fikia what he did.
Hakuna.
Yes.
And nothing can give you the joy.
Nothing can give us the joy.
You cannot get this joy. It is joy that you cannot explain.
Yes.
Because it is even having joy when things are not working.
Yes.
Just knowing
The
Christ.
peace that he says he
Yeah.
gives, the peace that surpasses human understanding.
That is it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, thank you so much. Let's get now into our conversation. You had told me about, you have told us about how it reshapes the family, how it is affecting the couples emotionally. You had talked about the diseases that comes with it. Psychologically, there's that financial strain and all that. Now maybe we can get to the children. The children, I know the children are really so much affected. And maybe you can tell us, how are they affected? Maybe long-term and short-term effects. Yeah.
Grace, before we get to that, there are two things I would want to talk about,
Yeah.
to highlight on the couple. The aspect of psychological, there's the psychological effect.
Yes.
Is rampant, and it is something that people will not understand. Remember, these couple, they are adults who have been together.
Yeah.
They have separated. So they go through stress, they go through depression,
Yeah.
you know, spiritually they go down,
spiritually,
socially
yeah.
they feel stigmatized,
Uh-huh.
and therefore by the end of it, there are all likelihood
Yeah.
that they can go, they can suffer from these psychosomatic diseases, like high blood pressure. You are likely to have diabetes,
Yes.
you are likely to have migraines, and name them.
Yeah.
Just because these are diseases that come as a result of mental illnesses, where you are going through psychological effects. The other thing I want to highlight on parents, sometimes the parents of the couple, especially from the girl side, remember it is affecting the family fabric.
Yes,
so everybody feels ashamed, guilty. Msichana wetu amerudi. So there are times the girls are chased away. I want to ask the parents, give them a chance. Msichana akija kwako, don't just look at her like an unwanted human being. They are looking for refuge. Let them come, give them time. Maybe they'll have time to reassess themselves. Remember, they need support at that moment. Try to understand them. And by the end of the topic, we will be talking about the strategies. We'll come to that. So the impact of divorce in children, their behavioral effects, like mostly, and research has come to note and to tell us that most of the children become rebellious. Remember, these are children who are suffering without talking about it. They are just victims of circumstances. So they are not even understanding whatever.
What is happening.
They did not choose to be born in this family. So sometimes they'll find themselves, you'll find them behaving in an unlikely manner, behaviors that are uncalled for. Like they become rebellious. Some of them even at a certain age, especially the teenagers, they can resort, they can resort to drug abuse, substance abuse, because they are trying to find solace.
Look for solutions where they can go and...
Remember, they are also going through low self-esteem. Wako shule, wako college, wazazi waliachana. How is the society treating them? So you realize these children will have to look for defense mechanisms for them to survive. Psychologically, just like their parents, they also suffer from stress. They'll have anxiety. But you know, our society wanna look children like they are emotionless. They also go through emotional damage. So they also go through mental illnesses at that point. Then socially, there is stigma. Ati mama yako waliachana. Unajua today wanaongea tu recklessly.
Kama naenda shule anapata mtoto mwingine amekujua na babake na mamake, and then there is you. Nyumbani baba harudi.
So imagine when the child goes to school na anaambiwa ati wazazi wao, imagine waliachana, the child suffers from stigma. There is also shame and guilt. They try to suffer the same. So children are not left out. Actually, to me, they are the ones who suffer most. Remember, the husband and wife, they may have mechanisms. They know what they want. It is a choice. But children are not involved in this choice. They just find themselves as victims of circumstances. So to me, from this aspect, I always say that children need to be taken through counseling.
Even the children, they're supposed to be prepared for it.
And I have always said that at a certain age, they need to be involved. It is not working.
From which age to which age are they supposed to know?
Actually, at any age that they are able to interact. Mtoto wako hata wa 2 years anaweza kukuona vile munakaa na baba yako yake. They are very good at observing. So they should be involved. They should be involved. In fact, I'm doing a program on prevention of substance. Na tunasema this time we are not waiting for them to get into adolescence, because we have realized they are engaging even before. At 7 years. They know what cigarettes are. In this case, ni kusema at 3 years, at 4 years. Let them know that we are parting. We are parting. So that they can be prepared. Wacha tu kustua watoto umewatoa. Munaenda wapi? Wewe nyamaza. Wewe kimya. So you are making them to suffer. From my way of viewing things, let children know. These days children are not like in the past. We were just there to be seen and not to be heard. They ask questions. If they ask, let them be answered appropriately.
Yes.
Let them be told the truth. It is not working. It is not working. It is not working.
Yes, wasianze kuambia baba yako anafanya hivi
then
na hivi.
remember, hawa ni watoto wa baba yake. Even when you divorce, the father and the mother have a right legally. And that's why I always advocate for legal process. So that you can have the knowledge and information.
Yeah.
How about children? Tutakuwa tukiwaona these days, tunawaona.
Yes.
Wewe ukitaka kuona watoto wako mkutane kunste. Ukitaka kuona watoto wako mkutane mahali pengine, because you don't cease to be the father, you don't cease to be the
mother.
The mother. They have a right to engage, to meet their parents.
Yes.
And therefore children need to be involved.
Wow, yeah, they need to be involved. Does it affect them in all ages?
Yeah.
Does it affect them the same way? Like mtoto wa 7 years, adult, teen, adult child, teen child?
Not really, because also we have the cognitive development.
Oh, yeah.
Where children maybe they at 7 they understand more about than a 3-year-old. So the information should be different. It should be different, but they need. And mostly our children are exposed. These days they ask you, kwani daddy hakuji siku hizi?
Yes.
Na kuna wakati anakasirika, unamwambia kuna wakati umekasirika, baba yako amekasirika, so that's why the daddy is not coming. But he still remains your dad. At that level, at whatever level, mtoto akiwa curious, because they suffer from anxiety. And you need to help them, because once they get into all these psychological effects, the end result is behavior change, where they get into other uncalled for behavior. And where do they learn? Wakikunywa, wakitumia madawa, wanaishia wapi? Kwako. So you become the sufferer at the end of the day.
Wow, thank you for shedding light on that. Yeah, but how can they, especially the children wenye wako na nini, wenye wanakuwa wakubwa sasa pole pole, how can they be able to be helped waache kuview marriage in that way? Because sasa unaweza pata that's a long term effect, that they can view marriage in a way that oh, so this is how hata nikioa so bado nitaacha. How can they be helped
in today's world? Unlike the past, the issue of divorce, hata kama haikuwa sana, at whatever level, the family was involved.
Oh,
from
the
both
whole family.
The both families, from the husband and from the wife, and they would talk over it. Today, I've repeatedly said the family fabric is no longer together, and therefore we are advocating for professional counseling. Because that is the only area that we can, a counselor can shed light by exploring whatever the child is going through.
Yeah, true.
So sometimes unajaribu rafiki mtoto hawezi kueleza, but with a professional, the child is able to be explored, to be made to understand, and the child can start the process of moving on. Remember, nimesema you go through the process of grief, because there is denial, there is anger, there is depression, there is bargaining, and until you get to acceptance. So today, what I'm advocating is, when parents get to that point, kindly indulge or involve a professional counselor.
Professional counselor.
A professional
counselor. I love that, because I've now realized kumbe pia watoto, they need psychological counseling in that time when there's divorce or such things are happening in the family. Maybe you can tell us the strategies of how to help those people who are now passing through that time.
Maybe the one is about visiting. Iwe ni nyinyi mnataka kuachana, kindly before nyinyi ambao mnataka kuachana, kindly see a professional counselor. Yeah, when we were away from the camera, I just told you that I've had several of them, and we do have even 5 sessions.
5 sessions.
Yeah, because even by the time you decided to divorce, there is that aspect of awareness. There is that aspect of knowing what is this, what is my contribution in this? Yeah, why am I doing this? So with the counselor, we are able to shed the light.
Yeah.
And at times, wengine wanasema surely, I think I took the wrong decision. This was, maybe I was irrational and all that. So one strategy is to see a psychological counselor. Number 2, for married couples, just like when you are in dating, kindly observe the red flags in marriage.
When you're in marriage,
yes,
there are red flags.
There are red flags. There are things that people ignore, and they speak volume. So don't ignore anything that creeps into a marriage. Maybe you used to communicate effectively with your spouse. At one point, nakuta one side, one is not interested, because mostly I've always said that effective communication is the best tool in marriage, because it is through it that you can resolve other problems. So umeona mume haongei, mke haongei, and then unasema maybe he's tired, a week is over, 2 weeks. That's a red flag. It should be addressed at that early stage. Let people communicate what's not working. Maybe you realize that maybe there is mistrust. You have been trusting somebody, but sasa unaanza kuwa suspicious. Oh, it's not well, because they are indicators. Kindly, it is good not to ignore. Just address the issue as it comes. Don't pile. Don't pile. Because no marriage is 100%. Every marriage has its own challenges. So I would urge the couple that it is important to, when you identify a red flag, something that is creeping into this marriage, the strategy is to work early. There's a book I read, inaitwa Divorce Proof Your Marriage. Divorce Proof Your Marriage.
Divorce Proof.
Divorce Proof. Divorce Proof Your Marriage. Inasema, when you look at that statement, now prove that your marriage is you have not divorced. Because people have even divorced when they are together.
They are still together, but
they share the roof.
But they are roommates.
And in that book, I read that it is a process, and they have 5 Ds. We may not have time. That you start with the dating, then you get to disappointment, early stages, then you get to distance, emotional distancing, until you get to the last one. So it is about those red flags. Kuna to disappointments, kuna those don't ignore them. There is that emotional distance. Don't ignore. These are red flags. Work on them. Why we are working to prevent divorce, because divorce has its own side effect. And the side effects are very many. As much as we think we will be happy, we might not find the happiness that maybe we deserve, because that was not our intention. So it is good. The other thing is just to involve God.
God.
Because I always say marriage was designed in heaven. The initiator, the person who made it was God. It is godly. So unless we involve the creator, the maker, the designer, who is God, then you realize our marriages are shaking. They shake. So it is another strategy is to involving God.
That is very important. And praying for it and all that.
And we need to be together in this. We need to, not one side. Nakuta family wakati mwingine ati ni mama wa kanisa, baba si wa kanisa. What is all this? We need to involve God.
Yes.
Let us seek God because He's the designer of marriage.
So there is hope for the people who are divorcing. At any point ushaipata watu wanakuja kwako, they are divorcing but wana realize by the way, what are we doing? Let's go back and work on our family.
True. I have had cases watu wamefika na kusema mimi I have called it off. But after those sessions tu anakuja ku realize I think, because we always tell them, look at the compare the two, the pros and the cons, the advantages. Unilete nakuta disadvantages zimekuwa nyingi. Mostly mtu anasema okay, let me give myself a chance. But we won. There are cases that are extreme, like the abuse. That one is an area that we don't like. The
violence.
The violence, the beating, the what. All these are things that we don't advocate. Ukiona imefika hapo, then think twice. Kuna waibaji wa Kikuyu wanasema juu ya chura. That kuna wimbo wa Kikuyu nasema chura uruke kutoka kwa maji ikiwa moto, badala ya kuchomekea huku ruka. So it's about saving yourself. Remember, even if you are in marriage, when I'm doing the premarital counseling, I always tell the couple to be that you become a couple, but you don't sacrifice the I. Remember, you are still Grace. Remember, you are still Mary. Remember, you are still Joseph. So, and somebody wrote that the marriage is about two people coming together with their own differences. So marriage is made of three. Me, you, plus the me too. The me too. Me na wewe. We make another person. So these are areas that we need. For me, I always say a strategy, one strategy is to seek counseling before you get to any other step. Look for professional counseling. We have professional counselors. Then let us involve God. Let's talk it. Talk about it. Even with our confidence. Let's share what we are going through. Tusinyamazie huku ati nitasema alafu watu
wanione aje. That's the problem.
Especially for Christians. Usiende kusema ati unaiombea na unaiangalia. It is good also to look at it, because I always say prayers without action. Nasema hiyo ina kasoro. So it is good, it is important. And at one point I want to say this, that in marriage, let us embrace forgiveness.
I love that.
Let us embrace forgiveness. Because we are not perfect. We are made to error. So sometimes we do things unknowingly, and maybe tunajaribu kufanya vizuri lakini tunajikuta tunafanya vibaya, like Paul says, every time I try to do good, but I realize I don't. I'm doing the opposite. The wrong thing. So it is also good to embrace forgiveness. It is also good to try to build whatever has been broken. Try to bring it together. Try to bring it together. Don't call it off. Somebody said it's not over until it is over. Just try to engage whatever skill, whatever ability you have, just to maintain that marriage. Kwa sababu marriage ikisimama, inchi imesimama.
Ni kweli.
Kanisa imesimama. And finally, there was this aspect of the church. The church should also understand that times are changing. You know, when people have divorced, now when you are mother, you have divorced, you are in this church, how will people view you? Watakuangalia like an outcast.
Very true.
Let us all know that we are all vulnerable. We are all vulnerable. Nobody is free from it. And therefore let us be a system, a support system for these people as they go through this process of divorce. Tuache kuwawekea mikakati you know, and huyu alidivorce, being judgmental, hata anaonekana ndiye alikuwa mbaya kwa marriage.
Yes.
You can never tell
true.
unless wewe umekuwa kwa hiyo nyumba. So I encourage the church and the church leaders and the church members, let us help these people.
Yes.
Yeah, let us give them hope, because by the end of the day, God loves them. Yeah, and that is why Jesus was asked, should people divorce? Hakupeana mambo mingi, alisema only when kuna mambo ya adultery.
Yes.
Alijua kuna mambo mengine, lakini alijua the others we can always amend.
Wow, thank you so much for that. I love that you've really actually answered our question today. Is it the only option? But you've told us there's forgiveness. There's also talking about it and coming together again and telling each other it is not over. We can still do it. We can still try again. Thank you so much for sharing. We love your insights and your wisdom, and I know it has really helped our viewers today. Yeah, so thank you so much, our viewers, for being part of our conversation today. We've said we're not here to advocate for divorce, but we're here to help us understand that it is not over. It is not the only option. We need to involve God, talk about it, and also together as a couple, as a family, help build your strong and healthy family. We're still inviting you here for the Easter festival here at Mizpah House of Prayer. Mizpah House of Prayer is located in Bahati, Nakuru. That is along the Nyahururu-Nakuru highway. Come, let us celebrate the risen Christ. It is starting from today till Sunday. For more information, just contact 0727 766 553. Have a very wonderful and happy Easter. Bye-bye.
Yeah.